Alrighty then. Welcome everyone to the first episode of the Unfit and Unharmed
I think it'll
podcast.
be cooler
Uh,
if you let me say the unfit and you the unharmed, but whatever. I will let you.
it's a working name in progress because we're very unoriginal.
Of course we are. Anyway, I will let you go on because it's your first episode and you're coming with this. But hello, everyone. I'm the other very rude host. Hello.
Hello, this is my co-host for the first episode, Unfit. We both create content. He's been creating content for a little longer than me. I've been doing it for the past couple of months. Hopefully, y'all will go see my videos because I plan on I do variety at the moment, but I plan on doing a lot of stuff. But
And this,
me and Unfit or Team NDL, what would you prefer to be
I
called in
don't
this
care even
channel?
if you call me
Unfit.
by my personal name. It doesn't matter to me.
All right, all
But
right.
I think
So me and
I
Raz have
think
been
if you want to, I think for the theme unfit could be the best, right?
Unfit, yeah. Okay, so me and Unfit have been friends for a very long time, and we talk a lot, like
A
a lot, and we decide
lot.
to we decide to share a lot of a lot of stuff that we've been talking and a lot of stuff that we've been doing together, and you'll understand what we mean in a couple of
And
minutes.
if we
So,
can, why not make
um,
money out of it? Just kidding.
hey,
I
why
mean,
not? So so to get into the podcast, I should explain. During COVID, during Corona, back in 2020, we were stuck indoors for a very, very long time.
yep.
We had nothing to do. Um,
I
Spoiler alert! I'm about to rat out Unfit right now. The man started playing Runeterra 24/7.
Runeterra 24. Excuse me, not 24/7. Excuse me. I did play it because it was interesting because it was a different card game, but not 24/7. Because if it was
It's okay.
24/7, I wouldn't play Yu-Gi-Oh and Hearthstone. Although I play more Yu-Gi-Oh, but
It's okay.
whatever.
It's okay. I'm giving him flack, even though I also played Legends of Runeterra for quite a bit. I played it for 2 months. It was
I
a fun
think I
game,
think I'm
but
going to stop playing it not because I don't enjoy it, just I don't have the time. And honestly, I can just
I don't
follow
have the time.
content creators that show cool
And
things, and I don't have time to follow.
yeah,
Also, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying, like, I don't want, like, don't like the League world, because there are some really really cool series with Arcane, which we deviate for a second.
oh,
Arcane
Arcane
is
was
amazing, and the
amazing.
world is amazing, and I know they're also building an MMO and everything, and I am feeling.
Oh, they're building an they're
I
building an
think they
MMO.
do. I think that's what I heard, that they're trying to compete with World of
Well,
Warcraft.
there goes my bank account.
But the point is, it's just I don't have the time for that. I do think that right now Riot is definitely superior to Blizzard, because we're not going to enter into that particular thing, but you all know why if you've been following these particular things.
You know what? There are other reasons. Riot has been buying a lot of studios
Exactly.
and has been doing a lot of things right. Like, yes, you can go into the politics and the other things, but Riot has really been upping their game. Like, I don't know if you've all watched this, but a couple of days ago, there's another gaming studio, 334.
Three
They
four
lost
three.
their 334.
Three
No,
three four.
they 334. They ran the game
That's
Halo.
343, not 334.
Oh, 343. Dang it, I got mixed up. Numbers, okay? It's
Whatever. I
Numbers
get
Studio.
you. I get you.
Numbers Studio. So Numbers Studio, basically 343. They lost like their lead, not developer, but person who does like a lot of cool stuff
Hmm.
there. Just a second. 343. They lost. What's her name? Bonnie something. Uh, what was her name? Bonnie Ross. Yeah. So Bonnie Ross was like one of their like top leaders and managers in 343, and she just up and left out of nowhere. and basically 343 was already struggling because a lot of the cool stuff going on in 343 was under like her wing. She did a lot of like the cool stuff in Halo, and now that she's gone, like nobody cares about them. And Riot has been and also Blizzard has been doing a lot of things right, but a lot of things wrong.
I think it's in Blizzard case, not only because of the fact that Activision, but we'll get to that maybe in a later episode. The fact is that they're also just corrupt suits. Let's just go with that. I don't think Riot has that problem. I mean, of course,
no, we can flat out say it. We can flat out say it. There was a sting operation with one of their top executives,
Bobby Kotick. I know that stuff. Yeah. I know a lot more inside. I know that people really wish for Microsoft to buy them, because the moment that will happen, we might...
So that they can love the games again.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe things will also become cheaper, and not everything will become, money, like Diablo Immortal and everything.
Oh my god, Diablo Immortal. There's this one very, very big content creator named Asmongold. I read online. He put into what's it called? Into what was the name of the game that you just said again? Diablo Immortals. He put into that like I want to say $100,000. They say he put in or something like that, or maybe he said that he would put in, but he put in more like $50,000
to maximize one character.
Enough money to maximize a character, and he said that he does not regret it, but he would never play the game ever again, because that's
really this game is pretty predatory. And a lot of people also, just talking about also Blizzard games, there was also kind of like a practice in Hearthstone called runestones. But I think in that particular case... In that particular case, people are complaining about that, and I know people will say that it's predatory, but I would say, unlike Diablo Immortal, the bundles there are fair. Like $5 is 500 runestones. Yes, I know people would say that, a skin costs 150, so if you're buying 3 skins for whatever particular version of the game, you're basically losing 50 runestones. But technically, you're banking them, because the moment that you run 1,500, you basically can buy 10 skins. Yes, it's a little bit predatory, but it's not Diablo Immortal that you're just left with, really weird numbers. It just, you decide to spend that much money, sometimes the bundles will not align.
You know what? There's another way to look at it. If you want to max out an account, you throw in like $5,000 to $10,000. Max, but that's like for the crazies who want to like max it out in like a day.
Yeah, I know.
In this, in what's it called, in Diablo Immortals, you have to spend like $100,000, and maybe then you'll be able to.
Exactly.
Like, it's crazy.
One thing that also Riot doing smart is that they basically, I'm talking about Runeterra and everything, is that the games are free. The skins and everything are the things that cost money. Yes, you can buy things to get cards faster, but for example, I'm just not playing as much as I used to be, and when there weren't that much cards, I played for a year and I got an entire collection of 4 expansions.
Oh, of like min rarity?
All of them, all the cards.
Yeah, and that's how it should be. If you grind for let's say half a year to 10
and I didn't
months,
play even that much.
A game that
I just played.
If you're making, I know what you mean, but in my humble opinion, if you're making a game where you can grind for free an hour or two a day for 6 to 8 months, and you can get min rarity of everything in the game, then you did it right.
Yeah.
Because the whole point of video games is not to force someone to pay $100,000 and maybe in 2 months they'll be able to max out.
I will tell you this, okay? People who want to support the game, and even people who don't really have a whole lot of money, people who just want to support the game because they enjoy the developer will give a little bit of money and they will spend more, and that's what developers don't understand. We'll spend anyway, but I'm talking about for example, let's say Hearthstone. Let's say I enjoyed the game a lot and the game was free and everything and nothing pay to win-ish. Some things are to get faster because that makes sense, but I could get all the cards really, really easily, just like Runeterra, like, playing a half a year or something and getting the entire, standard collection, I guess. I'm not saying the entire sets, but the entire standard collection. Then I would say, yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine. And then, like, oh, hey, they're cool skins. I like the game. I like to play it a lot. I like the balance. I like everything. Now I will commit to actually buy skins or trying to play former formats with, older cards and actually commit
Yeah.
money. It's just, there are a lot of things into this that are just very interesting, but I don't think that's the topic for today, I guess.
Interesting is a correct
Yeah,
word, and but when I say the correct word, I mean shady. A lot of it is shady.
obviously, but it's interesting that they choose the shady part, even though the non-shady could be more rewarding, actually.
Oh, absolutely. So back to the topic that I wanted to bring up.
Hmm.
Back in this beginning of COVID, me and Unfit here, we basically we each watch a lot of anime. Spoiler alert: we're both a bunch of weeb
I
geeks.
mean, we'd watch anime during that time a lot. Now I don't think I have a lot of time to watch any anime, but
No. I watch at this moment like 2 series
I
max.
just
Like,
decided to put those to the side because I have so many other things that I just want to complete before that.
oh yeah. When I was in your place in life, sure, I also did the same thing. I also didn't watch anything, but but now that I have a little bit of spare time, I watch a little bit.
That's
And
fair.
at that time, like we both had a little bit of time, and I was watching a show called Black Clover, and Unfit was watching. Well, not watching, but he wanted me to watch Yu-Gi-Oh!
Because
5Ds.
we made a deal. He told me, watch Black Clover, I think you would like it. And Unharm just told me, just watch it. And I told him, you know what? Sure. But I just want you to also watch something because I think it will be interesting for you as well to see something that I think is, I wouldn't say the best thing in the world, of course, but it is a gem of a series that a lot of people just underappreciate in a way.
Oh, for sure. It just got overshadowed by GX. If
Yep.
GX wasn't as good as it was, people would have been all over 5Ds. I think I honestly liked it so much I watched it twice
Mm.
because you know when you're watching something the first time around you don't really get everything that you wanted out of it,
Yeah.
and like the second time around when okay, this episode is going to suck, I'm going to skip it.
Mm.
And you know that this is coming up and this is coming up, and you're like, I don't care about this arc. I want to watch it for this arc. I want to watch this arc. I want to watch them play this type of deck. Like, I thought that a lot of it was very gratifying, especially one of the things that made just a second. Okay, had to turn on the air conditioner.
That's
Sorry, folks.
fair.
So yeah. So one of the things that made it very interesting for me when I told Unfit here to watch Black Clover is I just watched it on a whim, like a couple of weeks before, because I hadn't we were like during COVID, we were all just sitting in our rooms doing nothing. That's the truth,
Yeah.
because we were so scared to go outside because we did not know anything about Corona, and people were just like, if you get people in high risk were like, don't get me sick because I will die. But like people like me and Unfit, we're low risk obviously because we're pretty young, but like we couldn't go outside because that we don't want to get everybody, we didn't want to get people sick, so we stayed indoors. And
Hmm.
I watched for the first time many shows. I watched Demon Slayer. Like I started watching Demon Slayer a month before it ended in the manga, and I obviously read the manga because something that I hate to do is wait for them to animate everything.
I mean,
If I'm watching something and it's not going to end at a pace that I'm into it, I'm going to just read the manga.
yeah, I can see that. I mean, I don't really want to read sometimes the manga, but like sometimes I do. It just depends on how interesting the show is to me.
Oh, absolutely. So, Black Clover, as some of you know, some of you don't know, is about a boy named Asta, who basically was born in a world of magic without
Magic.
magic.
Yes.
And one of the things that turned off a lot of people from watching the
Is the
show,
first 3 episodes.
It's literally the first 3
I mean,
episodes.
the worst one is the third one, but
Yeah.
yeah.
The third, you do not put a boring episode in episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because people when you start watching a show, you want to get into the hype of it. You're like, yeah, when I'm booting up a show and I'm not watching it at 2 times speed, I want to sit down. I want to watch it. I want to like, get into it. I want to like see the characters, see the world, see how the mechanics are working.
Yeah.
Like if it's magic or if it's something else. Like, do you have any shows in mind about that kind of
What?
stuff? Well, you're not allowed to say Hunter x Hunter.
I don't really care about Hunter x Hunter. But you're talking about shows.
No, but like they have interesting like mechanics that like draw you in.
Interesting mechanics that draw me in. I mean, I'm not saying like the show is like the best of the best, but one that I really enjoyed was it's pretty short, and I'm hoping we'll get like more of it. But it's Jujutsu Kaisen. I really like the idea of the show.
Oh, Jujutsu Kaisen is amazing.
It's basically felt like another version of Bleach, but darker. And more focused on the Duke.
I swear to God, I hate people saying
I know.
that. I hate people.
I know, but it's easier to people to compare this like that. I don't think it's like it is true, because I do think Jujutsu Kaisen is its own thing. But it's just easier to compare it like that, because people will just like, oh, it's like Bleach, so I will enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Okay, for reference, I'm going to like let the viewers know right now. My personal favorite manga of all time is Bleach.
Oh, yeah.
And I love the anime too. And something that I really liked that Tite Kubo and, what was it, Shiragi? Whatever his name was, the composer for Bleach. A lot of people like to compare things to Bleach out of all 3 of the big 3, because a Bleach had like, it was super unique in many aspects. I'll admit the anime kind of like was middle because it had a lot of filler, but like when it comes to like the main parts, Bleach shines over the other 2 in my opinion, even though I like One Piece a lot. I do like One Piece a lot.
Yeah, I know you like
Spoiler
One Piece.
alert.
I do know.
Spoiler alert, I also like One Piece, yes. Naruto I liked, but I didn't like as much as the other 2. But back to Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen, one of the things I liked about Jujutsu Kaisen is that it was okay with being tropes. Like, a lot of shows don't like being thrown into tropes. Like, every single isekai is trying to say, I want to be a trope without being a trope. Like, bish, be a trope or don't be a trope. But, like, don't be a trope and say that you're not a trope. You know?
Yeah, I get that.
Like,
I mean, they have a lot of tropes, yes. A lot of things that are really cool.
Like the isekai of the slime, if in my opinion, it falls a little bit into that. Like, we want to be like unique, but we're a trope. But they're okay with being tropes. But like, they're trying to say we're unique. Unlike the other isekais, like ReZero. Oh my God, ReZero sucks.
Yeah, I heard. Like, I know your opinion about ReZero. You don't like it at all. Like, don't. I guess it's not like a hate, but you just don't like it that much.
Okay. You're right. It's not a hatred. It's if I had to give it a 1 to 10, I'd give it a 4.9, because it's just below being a 5. It's just below being a 5.
Interesting. Well, I do have a friend that, or I should say, I did know a person that actually hated slime. This time I reincarnated the slime. He hated it really much.
Yeah. I thought it was. I thought, even though it was tropes, it was cute. Like,
yeah, slime was cute.
Because that shows are a lot more than their tropes. They're also a lot of times, in my opinion, they're also the actual stories, because sometimes isekais have stories. But then there's the most famous isekai of them all. You know what I'm talking about?
Which one?
I'll give you a clue. Kazuma.
Oh God. Oh God. No. Please
That
don't.
one is just trying to be a trope. It's not pretending.
I mean, I don't hate this show, right? Like it's okay-ish, but it's not like
Which show? I want you to say it.
Konosuba.
There we go.
I mean, it has some cool, interesting things, and I do like the idea of like the stupid
No, it
tropes.
doesn't. No,
Like
it
I do
doesn't.
like the stupid sometimes. Like don't get me wrong, I don't love this show, but I do like sometimes to turn off the brain and actually watch like people being like actual jerks in a fantasy world and actually how it could have been. Because the fantasy thing is just yeah, fantasy thing is not always as nice as you think it is.
Okay, so just for the viewers to know, me and Unfit, we were in one or two D&D groups together, right?
I think one, but I
I
get the
think two
idea.
actually.
It doesn't matter. Point is,
I think it doesn't. Yeah, that's not the point. The point is, so we both can talk a little bit about this kind of stuff from a D&D player's viewer, like from the viewpoint of a D&D player. So every time I watch like shows like Konosuba, any isekai, you're like, oh, you just happen to roll a d12 at the exact right moment. How wonderful.
it's basically our game was basically evolved into that, unfortunately.
Which the one where I was the goblin.
Just in general, I felt like games in general and everything just evolved into this. I just like I didn't have the energy to DM anymore. Just leave me alone. Just leave me.
Here's okay. I'm gonna tell, and if anybody here hasn't really played a lot of D&D style games or for their friends, D&D games are incredibly fun, and they are the most fun you will have in your life.
But they're also incredibly stressful.
But here's the biggest but: it is hard to organize meetings. It is easy to create a first meeting.
Yeah, it's so disappointing most of the time because people will just like, oh, I can today. Thank you for wasting my time and everybody's time that we actually spend here waiting for you. Thank you for letting me know that in like a second notice. Great job.
Like I was once part of a D&D group where we said every Thursday at 8 p.m. our time, we would show up for just an hour and 20 minutes. For anybody who doesn't know, that is nothing of time.
Yeah, D&D sessions can take up to 5 hours if we're talking about critical role level and everything.
Yes. So basically, for anybody who doesn't know how a lot of the Discord D&D games go, is you set a time to meet. 2 people will show up at first. After 15 minutes, a third person will show up. After half an hour, the fourth, and usually at the hour mark, the 5th person will show up. And then every time somebody shows up, you start talking about nonsense,
random stuff,
actual.
And because you're talking about random stuff, it takes you out from the game.
Yeah, it really does take you out of the game. And then you have the DM. God bless every DM soul, because you have to have so much patience for these people, because they're all the time. People like to muck around.
And they also like to mock your work, which is great.
Yeah, and they're like, where DM Master can be like, okay, we're going down a path. The right path, the one to the right, will take you to a beautiful garden with flowers of chocolate and rivers of candy. I don't know. And the left one will take you down to miserable hell, where if you go there, I will kill you all 50 times over. Choose wisely, and every time, you know what they'll choose.
The miserable one, because they want to make my life hell, because they know I will not kill them. Because otherwise the story will end.
At the end of the day, a lot of players, after doing this for, let's say, a month or two, they're just trying to test how far they can stress out the DM.
which is not
No,
fun for me ever.
no, it's like I was trying to even write stories and scripts for the DM, like when we were in a group together, because I knew how much hard it would be for him, and I thought if I can write something that just involves my character, maybe 20%, gives it a little bit of um of a backstory. I put like the focus on the main character because there's always a main
Oh
character.
yeah.
Because but you always want to be, a little bit, to insert a little bit of yourself inside of the game, because it's
Yep.
like you don't just want to be a side character
I
all the
mean, the
time.
part of the D&D in general people need to understand is that you, the players, are the main characters, okay? My job as a DM is not to take from you from being the main character. And that's evolved into the part that one of my, I would say OCs, I wouldn't say like, was a main character, but it was supposed to hang around because that was his point. And there were friends before because one of my other friends was like, DMing before of that, and then because I changed, like he gave me the opportunity to DM and actually took them to a different kind of setting. And long story short, he also just didn't really like that, and it just we're not going to enter into that. Maybe we'll talk about that in the future. I just don't really want to enter into that because we might do a D&D
That's
episode.
personal
Yeah,
drama.
long story short is that it's enter into the fact that I really hate it that when my character and like there are DMs that like that, but I don't. I hated that one of my characters had to be the center focal point because everybody just didn't do anything. It just I had to
That's
move.
not true.
Not
That's not
you,
true.
not you.
I was spamming memes in
I'm
main.
not talking about you. I'm talking about in general that like I'm
No,
trying to
I'm
move a
kidding. I'm kidding.
story and actually trying to say anything is like, oh hey, just no. And like there also was like a thing that I also just tried to give other people the ability chance to DM just for one-offs if they want to for fun, and also just everything. And I also just tried to
Hmm.
pick up pieces because there was supposed to be somebody that's supposed to DM, and it was supposed to be doing some cool, really heist thing because I wanted sometimes not to be the DM because I want to sometimes play a character, sometimes an overpowered character, but still I wanted to play something. And it's just like, oh hey, I just don't want to DM anymore. So I had to make a 2 session episode out of the blue, which I hate when that happens. And it's also I had to do that one additional time when I made the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, which was as player put it, the longest fight ever. Because it was a fight that took basically the entire session of almost 2 hours. And I basically just it landed on me out of the blue. So I didn't really know what to do, and it's just basically, oh hey, you have 4 bosses, you have to deal with them. Have fun. It's just that's literally the entire thing. He didn't like the DM at the time didn't give me directions on what he wanted to end get to. And he told me, you know what, you can be the DM instead of just saying, you know what, I'm not going to DM this day. Just that he just said, everybody want to be here anyway, so take take the what do I like to call it, the horse thing. I don't remember what is that called, the leash that you hold.
The
Yeah,
leash, yeah.
take the leash, I guess, and essentially just like DM right away. And it's like, oh, cool. Yeah, I can immediately do that. And just like you wanted me to write something thing, and like, and it wasn't like even in like at the start of the session I have time to prepare. No, no, no. It was he disconnected in the middle of the session, and then I had to take things over basically. So I had basically 30
That's not the worst
seconds.
part. That's not the worst part. A lot of people who join these things,
Don't really care.
and what I'm about to say is very, very true, are people who have like other commitments like many times, and they'll be there, let's say from 7:30 p.m.
Hmm.
Right? Let's say 7:30 p.m. would be a godsend if they
Oh
showed up at
yeah.
7:30 p.m. But for argument's sake, let's just say they showed up at 7:30 p.m. They'd be there till 8:30, and you'll be like, wait, we wanted to do this till 10 p.m. We need your character, and they'll be like, just use my character. Whatever happens, happens. And you're like, that defeats the whole point.
Like if you want me to play your character, I just can play I don't know, figure characters at home and make them clash with each other because that will be more interesting to me.
Don't act like you don't do that.
I don't. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
God, we're.
How did that Ryan George? How did that Ryan George skit go?
I don't remember. But why?
No.
Wow, we should really be called unfit, unharmed, distractible because we are getting distracted from the main topic that I think you wanted to talk about anyway.
Right. I mean, that's the whole point of a podcast. You just let a conversation go where it
I
goes.
guess. Maybe we'll just save
So
that idea for next time. But if you want to, we can talk about it for a few additional
no, no,
minutes.
no. We're not done yet.
We're
We're
not
not
done
done
yet.
yet. We still have one more thing to talk about.
Damn it. Anyway.
So basically, back to just finishing the topic that we were going to talk about. When COVID started, we started watching each other's shows.
Right.
And believe it or not, this is one of the rare cases where we actually liked each other's
Oh
shows.
yeah. We
Like,
both liked it.
I still keep up, like, if there's something with Yu-Gi-Oh anime, I don't anymore. I didn't watch Vrains. I'm not watching Zexal.
Zexal, just
Zexal.
I know there are people who like Zexal. I
the
know
Cliff
there are
Notes.
people who like Zexal, and maybe there will be people in the comments, but for
Yeah,
God's
they're lonely.
sake. Okay, I will say this. Zexal 2 was better than Zexal 1, and I think everybody could agree with me on that. But Yuma for me...
I'm not watching Zexal
Yuma for
to
me...
just get to Zexal
okay,
2.
when I watched Zexal 2, because Zexal 1 was so insufferable, and I did also watch it in speed, I basically just watched a little bit chunk of each episode to just get the main idea, and like the problem is just the main character is so annoying. If the main character was more likable, then I would say it's fine. But if the main character and the duels are boring and everything around it is boring, it's like, what's the point of watching it? It's just not interesting. Maybe the story is good, it's just not interesting. It's boring. I'm snoring when I'm watching this.
And another thing that we need to remember: a lot of times when Konami, who makes the shows? Is it Konami?
I mean, Konami is the company on the cards, so I think it's a specific studio, but I guess it's connected to the card game. Yes.
They always it's something that Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh have in common is that. By the way, if anybody here doesn't know, I play the Pokemon TCG.
And I play Yu-Gi-Oh TCG.
And we both like each other. We both like our shows for what they are, and that's all there is to it about these. But that's not the point. The point I was going to say is that a lot of times when they create new shows, then the shows affect what cards we get.
Yeah.
And if the show is bad, then you know that the mechanic or whatever it is that they plan on doing is going to be bad.
I mean, in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's a little bit
that
different because in the card game, it's actually the mechanic Xyz wasn't bad. It's just I hate the mechanic because I hate the show. That's the whole reason.
Yeah, but that's not the point. But when you have something that defines card games is they have to be very fluent. There has to be always a new set coming out. They have to be working on the next big thing, because otherwise people are going to lose interest and people are just going to stop playing. Like if Yu-Gi-Oh stopped playing, if Yu-Gi-Oh stopped creating new sets, people would within a year or two just stop playing the game.
Take a look at what happened exactly for Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel. That's basically the entire idea. So I just say that I know there are people who still play Master Duel, but for me, that's the reason.
They're few in numbers.
Yeah, that's the reason why I lost interest, because it's just not interesting to me anymore.
Right. So. You're about to start a whole spiel in a second. You're going to see where I'm going with this. And when they get and a lot of times when card companies see that everyone is getting bored, they start creating support for older archetypes that just do not need that help. Let's name 4 examples that continuously get help even though they don't need it.
For Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon?
Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon stays fresh.
Do you really want me to name these archetypes that I just... I'm not saying I hate them, but I hate the fact that they keep getting cards for no good reason. I know people like them, but my least favorite archetype, not Dark Magician, is Heroes. Heroes kept getting support. Yeah. I know that people like them. I know they're popular, but... just why? There are other archetypes that like why heroes need 4 link monsters if like 2 of
Pyro
them
needs help.
If like 2 of them are not even useful. Like why?
Let's be honest. Pyro needs.
Pyro is just like the forbidden type in Yu-Gi-Oh. It just doesn't get any help, basically.
You know, you know that meme with like the parent holding the child above like the pool, and then the drowning kid, and then you see the skeleton.
Yes, that's Pyro.
Pyro is that skeleton.
I would say
I can.
this. Okay, I would say this. I understand why they're doing it, like, selling cards and everything, and they're trying to, just like make the game still relevant. But like, people still play the card game, and like releasing hero support every single year will not bring people back. Okay, just from experience.
No.
Like, if you want to search for is to release for anniversary sets, that's fine. But if you consist,
You know what would actually help if they actually dubbed season 4.
oh yeah, season 4 and season 5 of 5Ds as well. They need to finish those, but you can do that because
Oh,
4
I
kids.
didn't even watch the dub. You know,
No, but
watched the
I'm
sub
talking
only. I
about
couldn't bring
generally. The
myself.
reason why it doesn't work and like you can like actually get the dub anymore, like if you care about it, is because 4 kids. And 4 kids do not allow you to do
Yeah.
that, which
No, 4 kids suck.
which also kind of disappoints me.
They only did like one good thing, and that was like Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, which also kind of disappointed me and bring me into that before we'll jump back into what I wanted to say, is that we might never going to see the 20 years anniversary of the 2003 Ninja Turtles, which were awesome. To this very day, I think they're the best ones.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very, very good.
I do think
I
2012
agree with
are
you.
good as well. I didn't watch them at the end, but I do think
They're not
bad. And I
They're
think
not
people
bad.
underappreciate Rise. I don't think Rise is amazing, but I do understand what they're going for. I did see the movie just to see, and it's actually, I wouldn't say an insanely good movie. I would say it's my second favorite Leonardo because they took him into a very different direction, and I do like that. I do like that.
Really? Who's your favorite? Before we go back to Yu-Gi-Oh, you said Leonardo's your favorite?
I would not say
Ninja
it's my
Turtle?
favorite turtle. I would say it's my favorite incarnation of Leonardo, the second favorite one. The 2003 is the best one.
Okay, who's your favorite turtle?
It's really hard for me to pick one. I mean,
No, it's not.
who is your favorite?
Michelangelo.
Of course it is. I guess because of responsibilities and because I do like the 2003 version, yes, Leonardo is my favorite, but it's really dependent on the incarnation.
No, it's okay. It's okay. They're all likable. The truth is, each one of them has like their own personality that's really different.
Oh, I
than
would say
one
this: the
another.
2012 one, even though he's cool, I just find him a little bit insufferable because he's just so much like a mom, more than anything. But the 2000 and
So back to
but
Yu-Gi-Oh.
I'm just going to say
Back
just
to
this:
Yu-Gi-Oh.
the Rise version is just basically an arrogant version. Is like he knows he's a good fighter and he just doesn't really care and just being very arrogant. And I do like that because that's just changed the dynamic a little bit, which I think is very interesting. But anyway, back to Yu-Gi-Oh. Yes. One thing I would say is that I really, really hate the fact that they're just keeping giving new support for old things. That just don't really need the support. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand that. Nostalgia, everything, that's fine. Once every few years, give, like, every archetype, like, all archetypes, you give them support. Just don't give, like, for example, this year, we get support for heroes in, a side set, and we also get a core set with hero support, which we don't need it anymore. It's like, I get it. You like to sell heroes. We don't need so many heroes. We don't need so much Dark Magician cards. We don't need that many Blue Eyes cards.
I agree with you. More support for the Golem
And I'm going to say
decks.
this, okay? With Blue, I would say
Gear
this
Golem.
year and recently, at least with Blue Eyes, they've been fine. With Dark Magician, they've been a little bit pushing it a little bit more, but Heroes definitely been the worst. But for example, there is one particular archetype that they really, really like in GX, and like GX is very popular, as you probably know. And there is one particular character, which is Axel, the one that used the Pyro archetype, that never gets support from, I guess that's 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And even 7 years ago, it's only got one card to support it. And it's even not a monster card, it's just a card you're just supposed to have. One decent card.
You mean.
Exactly. One decent trap card that's supposed to put the archetype on its legs for a while. It's like, but where's the rest of the support? Now, I am hopeful that in the Fire Duelist pack, which I'm hoping we'll get that.
I forget. This is something I actually don't know that I've been meaning to ask. Does Pyro even have any like Link cards?
Did what have Link cards?
Pyro,
I believe, just let me a second, I believe they have one Link monster at the very least. I think so.
Only one?
I think they
But
have
isn't like the whole
one.
point of Link that you have a bunch?
I think maybe you're right. They're even not having one, but I do remember at least they having one because if they don't have one, it just doesn't make any sense. Because I do think there's one particular monster that is a Pyro that is a Link because it was an early incarnation of the Lynx. So I do think it is. So let me look for it for a second. Pyro monster.
Pyro.
Not special summon. Link monster.
I'll be honest.
We have
in
one.
The show, Pyro
We have
really...
one.
Only one?
And it's not even a part of
What's
anything.
it
It's part of an archetype. I thought something else is no. It's just a card that I owned. It's called Prankid's Bow Wow Bark, which is only played at one, and it doesn't have anything to do with Pyro. So technically, Pyro doesn't have any Link monsters. Basically, really if you look at Pyro from the start of the game, you only have 120 monsters. Just 120 monsters. That's it.
That's not support. That's basically them saying, we acknowledge the fact that you exist, but you will not sit with us on the Senate.
We basically have almost 8,000 monsters in the game, and only 120 of them are Pyro. Let's look, for example, at a Warrior. Oh, hey, Warrior. For some reason, which I do hate that type, not because of the cards, because I do like Warriors and Warriors.
Really? I'm okay.
No, I do hate the fact that Warrior just get too much support, because every card that is a human and doesn't have any distinct thing is just a Warrior, because it's the easiest thing to distinct it with. So Warrior has basically 1,000 cards. Spellcasters have about like almost 700 cards. Fairy have 500. Fiend has like 750. Zombie have 250 almost. Machine have like almost 1,000 as well. Aqua, it doesn't really matter. Let's look at dragons, for example, because dragons we have a lot. Dragons also just almost 700.
Just like in Konosuba, nobody cares about Aqua.
Yep, basically. Oh, and there are also something called Cyvers. And Cyvers, which is a new type. The newest type in the Master Duel version of the game, not the Rush Duel, have 250 monsters. And it's been around for like maybe 6 years, if not less. And it has basically more than Pyro. Now, another thing I would say, Worm has less than Pyro, which we have only 86 monsters, but it has better supported actual archetypes that work. So Worm, I don't count it, even though it has less amount of monsters. It's just like, why? Like, some of these types, yes, they have less than Pyro or like around the same power, but at least they have a type or something, or like an archetype that they're working in tangent with that works.
I want to say something. I want to say something. An archetype like Worm, it's like there's nothing inspiring about naming an archetype worm. You know, like when you hear Pyro, you think like, oh, you know, people who are basically firebenders and stuff like that, who like, you know, shoot fire out of their hand and they're like immune to fire and stuff. And you think.
Funny thing is, I think there are Pyro monsters that are not actually fire. But let's.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Like, it's supposed to be inspiring, and then you see something like this, and this is just very disappointing.
Oh, yeah, I am, like, going to say this. I was hopeful that in the next couple of sets we would get, like, Pyro support, because they basically, I wouldn't say brought it back from the dead, because I would say this, bringing back from the dead something like Reptiles is really hard, but they did bring Reptiles to be an actual deck. They did bring back Thunder during like a few years ago to be an actual deck, which wasn't really a type. Like, they brought some types basically back to life, but nothing I would say like, you know, oh, hey, it's actually really, really good for Pyro. Like, Pyro didn't really get anything. Also, there are Earth Pyros, there are Wind Pyros, there are Light Pyros, and there are Dark Pyros, just to let you know about that. So there are different kinds of Pyros.
I already knew
but
that.
the only attribute of Pyro that you don't have is water from the common attributes, which makes sense.
Where are there any Dino Pyros?
Dino Pyros? Dinos is a different type. Let's talk about that. It's not even a...
No, I was kidding. I was just.
But I am surprised that Aqua, which is supposed to be water, does have fire Aqua monsters.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. In Pokemon, there's Volcanion, who's water fire type. That's not that uncommon.
So yeah, that's my problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! Basically, that the typing are not fair, and there are some particular archetypes or particular characters in the anime or everything that could get cool support, cool things, but they just don't get anything because they don't sell as much, I guess. Although the main focus is not even that. But I would say this, if we're talking about shows again, like, just to finish it off before we'll come back to that and wrap everything up, I guess, is that Vrains is actually, I wouldn't say as good as 5Ds because it starts slower a little bit, but it's actually is a good show in my opinion. I think it's really good. It's probably the second best Yu-Gi-Oh show.
I'm still not watching Brains, not yet.
That's fair, but I'm going to say this. It's, in my opinion, a lot like one of my other friends' wives actually just like the original show very, very much, and just saying it's the best show. And it's like, I mean, I do like it, but I told her it's my third favorite show of the Yu-Gi-Oh ones. I do think the original is very good. Like, I'm not talking about Season 0, of course. I think it's good, but I don't think it's in the level of 5Ds because the storytelling, even with all the problems, the storytelling of 5Ds was really good. Even with all the problems and everything around it behind. And Vrains is also really, really good. Like, a lot of people don't really appreciate it, in my opinion.
Okay. So, I want to change the topic a little bit because we were talking about the Yu-Gi-Oh anime. Now, let's talk a little bit about the Pokemon anime.
Okay.
Now, there has been a lot of good Pokemon anime episodes recently, but in general, like they've made a lot of shows, like mini shows, like Pokemon Generations and stuff like that. They're really cool. But right now in the anime, when by the time this episode will have come out, maybe the next episode of the anime will have come out. But right now we're in the height of a hype Pokemon battle. Can you guess between what two characters?
I guess Ash is one of them because it has to be.
Spoiler alert, it is Ash, but who is the second one?
I don't know.
Think of the most famous character within people who know Pokemon.
Most famous character, and you're talking about gym leaders, Elite Four, and everything?
And everything, yes.
If we're talking about like an actual, like really, really popular one, like if we're talking like Cynthia, maybe?
Yep.
Like, I'm not saying this like, I was seeing the pictures or anything. I'm actually saying this like right now. And I'm right now typing it down to see what you're talking about because I'm interested. It's like, but it's the most makes sense. You said popular, really popular. I thought about Steven, but then like Steven is popular, but not that popular. I was like,
oh, that happened already. There was already Ash versus Steven and Ash won that.
Yeah, but it's like, if we're talking about an actual characters that like really people like, let's be honest, gushing over it too much is Cynthia. Let's be honest.
Yeah. So, technically Gardevoir, but we're not going there.
That's a Pokemon, not a trainer.
Yeah. So basically, right now there's Ash versus Cynthia. This has been going on for 2 episodes, and there's going to be a 3rd episode that's obviously going to wrap it up, because that in Pokemon, when a battle takes more than 2 episodes, then it's like a defining battle. And this is a defining battle because this is the World Series. This is like between the most powerful trainers in the world. I
have a feeling that he's going to lose, though.
Against Cynthia?
Yeah. I have.
You want me to?
No, I'm not saying like.
I don't think
no. I'm not saying it's like going to lose, but I have a feeling if it's a defining one, like sometimes they do this, like they did in the Sinnoh League.
No. This time it's different.
Okay.
This time it's
because
different.
The Sinnoh League,
for 2 reasons.
The Sinnoh League was
He's
actually
not an idiot, for starters.
The Sinnoh League was actually. Just let me finish this. Like in the Sinnoh League, he wasn't an idiot, but he did lose for the Dark-Eye guy. Really badly.
Yeah. So this time it's different because A, he's not an idiot. B, he's going up as... Obviously, he's a trainer who's powerful on his own rights, but he's also being known for the first time as a champion. Like, people are calling him the champion of Alola. Also... Which makes it a little bit different.
Also, what Pokemon is he using? He's using the same... Like, the team that he have right now in Sword and Shield, or he can use other ones from different series to bring them back.
He's using his Sword and Shield team, which is actually powerful.
And is this good?
He has two Pokemon who can Dynamax, Pikachu and Gengar. He has Dragonite. He has Dracovish. Dracovish is super powerful, by the way.
Yeah, you told me.
And he has Yeah, you know what? In the second, once I'll explain to the viewers who don't really know much about Pokemon, or do know a little bit but don't know why Dracovish is stupidly powerful. We'll get to that in a second. And the other two are Lucario, who can Mega evolve,
And
and
it's 6 versus 6 this time around.
Sir Knight, or no, not Sir Knight, Sir Fetch.
It's going to be 6 versus 6 now, or 3 versus
What?
3.
Oh, 6 versus 6. They're now up to 6 versus 6.
Is that like I'm just going
And
to ask you, like, this arc of the show is worth watching right now?
yes, the past, I want to say 10 episodes have been very much worth watching because it is like Elite Four. This isn't like stupid kids messing around looking for some dumb treasure on some dumb island. This is like people in the World Series.
I think like a few months ago you told me that he faced one of the gym leaders, but I think like they took a break like from the league and everything, and then it just like came back for that or something of that nature. I don't know how that works.
Something like that, because something that the Pokemon anime really suffers from is that they try to be a little bit too child friendly. Like to the point where it's like unwatchable sometimes, because that a lot of times they're like they go one episode where it's like, you know, there's intensity, you know, character development where you where you become friends with your with your Pokemon through a very harsh battle, and the next episode is a beach episode. Like, come on,
it's Pokemon. Like, what do you want?
Get out of here. Yeah. So I'm just gonna give I'm gonna give right now a quick explanation of why Dracovish in the VGC, the video game of Pokemon, is so powerful and why it was banned. There's this player called Wolfie Glick who basically discovered just how broken Dracovish is, who basically saw that it has an attack called Fishious Rend. Now, what does Fishious Rend do? If you go first, your attack doubles.
Oh, now, great!
That's a very cool idea. But when you give a Pokemon an ability called Strong Jaw, which basically I think doubles its attack on jaw-based attacks, which Fishious Rend is, and then if it goes first, it doubles again, and it has a base of 100. You're basically giving it like a 400, you know, base attack, which is basically you're basically munching through like a bunch of Pokemon without even trying. Like this is stuff that you do Mega for, you know?
Oh my god.
And in the anime, they obviously made it look a lot weaker than it. They said, oh, when we made Fishious Rend, we wanted it to look like this, and we wanted to feel like this. But in the video game, it's all banned pretty quickly. And that was just a cool little tidbit. Yeah. So I think we could wrap it up here. So we will be looking to post this podcast on other platforms. We're gonna maybe look to upload it to Spotify, maybe other venues. Hold up, until then, this will be pretty much on
the Unfit Crew
on
channel, which we need to change the name for, I guess.
Yeah, the Unfit Crew. No, it can stay the Unfit Crew. It can be unfit, very unfit. No, hey, you can harm me as much as you want. Oh wait, you can't because I'm unharmed.
Oh right, of course you are.
Okay, so before this end, we will shout out our each of us will shout out our channels. I am Dragon Unharm on Dragon Unharm on YouTube, and where can they find you?
I am the Unfit Crew. This is my second channel, which we change it to purposes of different things because I want to do in this channel whatever I want to, and not just be stuck with a certain topic, that's what this channel is meant for. But my main channel, at least for right now, is my Yu-Gi-Oh channel, which is Team NDL on YouTube, which we reached 5,000 subscribers pretty recently, which is pretty cool.
Woo!
I don't know when this is going to be uploaded, but maybe I've dated the episode.
Alrighty then, and that's going to be it for us today.
So
see you all
yeah,
next time.
Unfit
And Unharm.
Bye bye.